Alrighty, we're getting things fired up right now, and we should be live any minute now. I'm going to go ahead and load up an application called Space Engine because while I tried to pre-edit a video for tonight, I think it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to just kind of roll into it, get some real-time control of what we're about to do. And of course, we're streaming live from New York and using a fish tank to cool my computer down. I was told by many people it wouldn't work. And they were right, but at the same time, I figured it would not be as big of a problem as people said it would be. In particular, some people said that the fish tank would heat up too rapidly if you're using it to cool down your CPU. So I ran a video encoder for like 12 or 16 hours straight, and the water temperature didn't seem to change. Now, that said, the outdoor temperature is pretty cool right now. So, we're not going to be seeing a real test of that fish tank water cooling unit until we really get into the warmer summer days. But I can tell you right now, my computer is making for a terrible heating apparatus. It's not warming my room up anymore. So, I guess that's a win. But anywho, I'm just kind of talking about the fish tank water cooling project while I wait for anybody to tune into the chat. And perhaps we will flip into Space Engine right now. In fact, I'm sure there's going to be some loose ends in OBS. Oh yeah, there definitely are. I didn't turn on the chat plugin. We're not going to turn on the chat plugin today. We're going to keep it real simple. And what I will do is I will make sure the chat is on screen. In a format that is, just the right size. And to do that, we got to reset some stuff here. Hey, my volume is low. My volume is low. Let's fix that. Testing 1, 2. I'm going to make it too loud. Okay, that's too loud. Too loud. Tubugu. Tubugu. Testing 1. Testing 1. Uno, dos, tres, cinco, cinco, seis. Okay, I'm going to definitely need some feedback on this. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1. Okay, I got an idea. I'm going to make the preamp too loud, and then I'm going to lower it. Alrighty, let's see. We're going to go to recording settings. Hey, my PlayStation controller is showing up as a microphone. Let's turn that off. Okay, testing 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't think that volume control does anything. Oh, it does something, all right. Okay, good. Well, that's good. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Hey, what's up, awesome one? How's my audio, man? I know my audio is a little sketchy at the beginning, and I am hitting the peaks on that VU meter, but I'm trying to strike a happy balance, Or like that. Yeah, see? Too loud, right? Dude. Good. I'm glad you wrote something in the chat because it tells me that testing. All right. All right. That'll have to do. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I got the volume level approximately where I want to have it. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Okay, good. Ah, that's so weird. It's almost like it doesn't do anything when I do that. Testing 1, 2. Is that the compressor filter? Loud spikes, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I can see it. I can see it too. Is it a little better now? See, I did some stuff up here. See? Look, see the VU meter? So I got the VU meter. I'm trying to get that red to be like not so red. And normally I use a physical knob, but I'm hoping that I can let's play with the physical knob. I don't like touching the knob because the knob, if you lower the knob like a hair, it drops a lot. Testing. See, look, all of a sudden now it's like down in green, yellow. But maybe if we bring it up again, it'll be fine. Is it? I guess that'll have to do. I'm going to live with it. Yeah, we're going to stick with this right over here. So hopefully this is like a good balance between, it drives me insane. I hate this. So I usually have my amplifier. Oh, I see that's too loud already. I didn't even touch it. Testing. 2. Okay. Oh, jeebus. Testing, 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 testing. Every time I save the word, I'm moving the knob in microscopic increments. Well, we got a video in the chat. Anybody who wants to watch it, click it. Testing 1, 2, testing. What up, Wade? Testing 1, 2. Yeah. See, like this is something I meant to do before the stream, and I knew it was gonna be a bane. Oh, that's loud. I can see the red light blinking now. Testing. Okay, that'll be it. That's it. Oof, that's rough. Testing, 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 testing 1, testing Gator, testing Gator, testing Gator. I'm just talking about Gator. Don't touch the knob. But I have to. Look at this thing. Like, well, okay, what? So, hey, what's up, Timbo? Timbo Tube. Okay, are we okay now? I think we're okay now. So we're gonna roll with it. Thank you guys for your patience. Let's see, we've got Katy Perry there. We're gonna get rid of Katy Perry for now because that's not the right video. See, her head keeps getting cut off. I don't mind having Katy Perry in the corner. It's absolutely hilarious in my opinion, but I need a version of Katy Perry that doesn't do that. You know what I mean? I think I have a version here. Fixed Perry flower green screen loop. DNxHR. That's gonna be like a super high definition. No, this is the same bullshit. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Perry flower green. See, look, I got Katy Perry doing this here. See, I use the magic mask in DaVinci Resolve. I got like 10 versions of the same clip. And apparently I couldn't be troubled to do one of them with the correct crop factor at the edge of it. And I would fix it right now, but we are not here to make fun of Katy Perry. We are here to do space and Star Wars. So, first things first, let's get that YouTube chat on screen. We're going to keep it pretty hands off today. See, we already have it. I don't have to do anything to it if I don't want to. I can dance if I want to, as Punk Model would say. So I think we should do maybe one of these. And obviously you guys don't need to see the input field. And then we'll bring this up like that. And there we go. Katy Perry, the new and highly improved leader of Rogue Squadron. Yeah, it's Rogue all right. You'd have to go Rogue to let her be in charge of any of that crap. That's a trick question, Wade. Because, I mean, if I say yes, it means I got to play a video clip. And also, I don't want to be a dick and find out the video. I don't want to find out that the clip is actually funny and I missed out on a funny clip. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got me there. But let's get into Star Wars and orbital mechanics. How about we start there? Maybe we'll have time towards the end to whip out a video. And we'll take it from there. It's the safety pants. Ooh, I feel like there's a dirty joke in there, James. Okay. That was El Perro de Rover. All right. So anyway, this is easy now because I don't have to use the chat plugin. I can just Control V, boom, and you got the chat. You guys are recognized. You guys are represented. So how is everyone today? How you doing, Wade? How you doing, awesome one? Thank you guys for missing last week's show. I mean, I didn't do the show last week, so that's why. But guess what? While I was setting up my fish tank water cooler, look what I found. Oh, my camera's off. I found my Sailor Venus 3D print. How hot is that? How freaking hot is that? Is like so sexy, man. I'm gonna paint this. She is so sultry. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't sing in a high-pitched voice right now. I'm a little congested. You can see my soda can and my water bottle, and it looks like... Anyway, let's just skinny that up a little bit, why don't we? How's the battery stuff going? I got to order a battery this week. I was supposed to do that 2 weeks ago. I said I was doing that in front of you once, I think. So I really got to do it. I get paid tonight. I get paid at midnight. Well, I don't know about. I get paid like between midnight and 3 a.m. So I'll squeeze it in. All right. So in Space Engine, as you guys have seen us operate Space Engine today, Sailor Moon is not overrated. Actually, you know what's interesting? I mean, maybe it is, but you know what's interesting? I started watching something called Omojaro Doremi. And I'm not pronouncing that correctly at all, but I might have that. Because interestingly, I didn't notice at the time, but there's actually a story. I mean, I know I'm going off topic now, but there's an interesting story here. So apparently a group of people who worked on Sailor Moon ended up working together on Ojamaho do re mi. And I'm not saying that right. Ojamaho do re mi. But I think if we share my desktop audio and unmute it, we can listen to it. And you guys are going to recognize the song. If you remember the Ovilles. You guys remember the Ovilles? You don't remember the Ovilles? Oh, I'll show you the Ovilles. Because I have to upload a video of the Ovilles at some point soon, too. I do have a video of them. So, I'll show you. Hey, where's my sound? I'm going to turn on my own sound. Okay, so you might remember this song here. Oh, wait, there's no audio. You might remember this song from a while ago, and I didn't know what this was. But I thought it was their own theme song. Oh, that's loud. That is loud. I'm sorry, kids. Let me get that for you. Okay, so remember this song? It's like they do it so well. They play it and dance to it so well, you think it's their song, right? But it's actually the opening to an anime. And apparently this is like done by a bunch of people who worked on Sailor Moon. And the way I see it, so at first I thought it was like some stupid shit. Like, you know, just dumb characters and stuff. But there's actually something to this that makes it good. Like, if you see these stupid alien-looking things, and it's like, well, how good can this be? How good can it be? And unfortunately, it's not the version with the English subtitles. Oh, wait, these are. See, they got little English subtitles there, and it tells a little story, but aside from having a somewhat bumping song, see, when I saw this, I was like, oh shit, that's Sailor Moon right there. Because what happened was I was trying to figure out if that of this song was an original. Did they get it from somewhere else? Where did it come from? And basically the show has been described in a review that I watched as tackling themes like death, divorce, you know, all this other stuff. So it's not just like this wishy-washy, happy-go-lucky, or like, oh, this bitch can't do her homework type stuff. There's some, like, you know, I don't know, stuff that resonates with people on this. And there's a reason why people in Japan are somewhat big fans of this show, from what I can figure. And so, yeah, at some point I do intend on watching this. And wait, did it fly in front of the moon? I want to see it fly in front of the moon. It's funny. It's so cute when they fly in front of the moon. By the way, where's the YouTube studio? I need to monitor that. I need to make sure I'm not copyright violating anything. Okay, good. We're not violating any copyright by some means. It's probably because it's not licensed stateside. But did I miss it? I did miss it. I did miss it. I want to show you the moon. Yeah. There we go. Look, the moon's got a smiley face on it. Ah, that's so cute. Okay, we'll get back on topic now. So where were we again? Oh, yeah. So my point is, okay, so here's my point. What I respect about the show is it's trying to do the magical pretty girl routine, right? But you're not getting sexually assaulted while watching it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like sometimes, you know, it can get old. Maybe you don't want to, like, you know, watch girls in cocktail waitresses. Or maybe for some people it's a trigger and they're just like, you know, ooh la la. And they can't think of anything else when they see a hot girl, you know? So, and also maybe you don't want your family watching that. Maybe you got like family and you want them to watch something about magical pretty girls, but you don't want your daughter going to a cosplay convention in that. You know what I mean? Like, so that I like this because this show kind of strikes an interesting balance there. But let's get back on topic. This is not Star Wars related, but I don't know. I just thought it's kind of funny. So anyway, James had some interesting. It's the safety pants. Oh yeah, we're talking about Katy Perry. I was just doing a pseudo rhyme to go with the safety dance song. Have you seen the huge sunspots currently happen? I have a mixed. It's a mixed bag, bro. You know why? But you know, it's a good idea. We should talk about that. Because like, what is it? Solar Dynamics Observatory. We can pull that up right here because SDO is really cool. Because I remember there was an app that they were selling. I'm like, why are you guys selling an app? You're getting all your data from fucking NASA, you miserable pricks. But you know, these guys were making an app and selling it, and really, like, I'll give you an example. There's this guy, what the hell is his name? Murphy? He's similar to, like, Suspicious Observers. Same vein of science. But he's an actual, I think, geologist or some bullshit like that. And my issue was that it's like, if you go back for the past year, every video has some kind of title that it's on, it's serious, it's getting real. You know, big sunspots, big deal, big solar flare incoming. It's like, you can only, like, you know, cry wolf so many times. So that's kind of like my issue with that overall topic. But that being said, it doesn't hurt to pay attention to the sun. And every now and then, I rig my telescope for solar imaging, and we get pictures that are similar but lower resolution. And of course, they have a lot more wavelengths. And I love the animation loops. I love the animation when you see a solar flare pop up and the camera gets all staticky, like it's like getting interference. That shit is cool. I think it's cool. Hey, what's up, Trina? We got Trina in the house today. Trina is super cool, friend of Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, and was just on the collectible toy show just now. But you guys should check out Trina's channel and subscribe to it, because I know I did. And I tuned into it like for one of the first times recently. Apparently I wasn't getting my notifications or something. And Trina is a larger content creator than me. Trina has 21 more subscribers than I do. Hitting the big time. But that's pretty cool, though. That's good. A good round number right there, you know. Well, maybe it's not a round number, but it's a good number. Ooh, Jet Sparks is in the house. That's a man with a brain on his shoulders. I gotta read his chat with my undivided attention in a second. But, you know, these are all super cool. And if we really want to go down a rabbit hole... Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't sharing my screen. No, well, you know, I was just looking at this crap, see? And I bought a solar filter made by Daystar. I bought a Daystar Quark. And they got different kits, as you can see here. I bought this one right here. It was like $1,200. We did a video about it a while ago. And it's got a knob that basically either lets you see the surface details on the chromosphere, or you can see details of prominences, which are basically like those little solar flares you see on the surface. And they got like other products that will tune into different wavelengths of light. But real quick, I want to see if I can find that picture of the sun when it blasted the satellite. It was super cool. I want to see like if we get like a live video of the SDO getting interference from a solar flare, because that shit was dope. It was like one of these, but it was like crazier. It was like, maybe it was like this one, but with more static. Like when you would literally see it looks like your TV with a maladjusted antenna back in the 90s. Oh yeah, I feel like it was this one here. Even this one, you can see some like intense. There we go, that one right there. That one, I always like, you see this, you see like they got these instruments, they're made to be near the sun, or at least in a position where they can, you know, observe the sun. And once in a while this happens, and you can just imagine it must wreak havoc on the electronics. So they must have electronics that can, you know, tolerate this type of crap, you know what I mean? So it's just super fascinating stuff there. But let's get back to the chat real quick before we do some space stuff, aside from the side topic here. The links to the volcanic and seismic activity is especially interesting. Ah, yeah, that's true. Most of those guys are profiting from exaggerating fears. Absolutely. So you got a good point, because I remember one of the things I was learning about years ago. I think they're called volcanic lights or something like that. And basically it's like when you have a volcanic event or an earthquake, you know, due to or in conjunction with volcanism, you get essentially lightning. You get like a discharge of static electricity or a discharge of electrical current. And part of that is because that's just the nature of, you know, how lightning and all of that works. And the thing was, it wasn't because of the cloud. Because, you know, you're going to have these solar events where, I'm sorry, volcanic events where the ash from the volcano is where the lightning happens. Uh-oh. Space Engine did that thing again where the mouse disappears. So we're going to exit Space Engine. We're going to reload it, and then we're going to proceed, because we can't have an invisible mouse pointer in Space Engine. We're not playing that game today. I wonder if that only happens when I'm running OBS. I've had that happen a few times, but I feel like it happens when I'm streaming. Probably because I'm multitasking. I don't think you're supposed to be clicking on other things while loading Space Engine, you know? So that's kind of, you know, just how it goes for me. Can I sue Yoko Ono? Yoko Ono? Yoko? Oh, yes. I got this Yoko Ono, John Lennon, Yoko Ono double fantasy album. And in that album, I mean, in my copy of the album, every other track is not on the playlist. Because that's the one where it's John Lennon, Yoko, you know, and so on and so forth. So my playlist just skips all the Yoko tracks. I don't have to hear any of them. I swear something is wrong with this keyboard program, or maybe Chrome. Or maybe. Oh, here we are. That's what you said. I'm sorry, Sparks. I took forever to get to your message. Aren't we past our solar maximum? I mean, we had aurora activity last year, so yeah, that's a good point. I honestly don't know. See, like, I that's like something like I'm totally ignorant on, and if I was to watch any one of those random sources where that's all they cover, okay, I clicked on something while Space Engine was loading, and I disrupted its ability to give me a mouse pointer. So we're gonna try that one more time. I'm not touching my computer. I'm not touching the mouse. We're not clicking anything else. We're gonna let Space Engine load in peace. Capiche? See, look, it's loading on my top screen, but it's really gonna happen on my bottom screen. So here we go. And I mean, I think it's worth studying. I don't think it's like something that should be absolutely dismissed. But I think it's like it is cool when you can correlate earthquake events with solar activities, and if there is indeed a mechanism by which you can predict earthquakes with a reasonable time frame, that's cool. In fact, wait, wasn't there supposed to be like a massive earthquake like 2 weeks ago? In fact, yeah, one of these guys I was watching, with the sensational thumbnail, and yeah, there was supposed to be an earthquake 2 weeks ago. And this is absolutely brutal. I gotta Google this. This is insanity. Mouse pointer not visible in Space Engine. If I have to reset the settings, I'm gonna go psycho. First, check your Windows settings for pointer shows. I did that. In the game command, hardware console toggled appropriately. Okay, let's try that out. Why don't we try that? I like that idea. I'm gonna turn on the hardware cursor, because if that works, we can move on with our routine here. So we're going to roll with that. We're going to try to turn on the hardware cursor, because I really don't like this not being able to see. Oh yeah, we got it. Okay, good. We can proceed. Hey, what's up, Zax? Oh man, I missed What's Up Wednesday. I love What's Up Wednesday. Sometimes it's really funny. Got a good cast of people. You got Leon. Leon's a cool cat. He's a gentleman, and I love his bird. His bird's really cool. I like that he brings his bird on stream. People ask me to bring my turtle on stream, but it's after their bedtime. And he's got a good based, rationality. Then Zach's got this woman who's a cartoon, and her memories just fall out of her dress. But she's also very sweet too, and plays games and stuff on her own channel. I mean, we had Aurora activity. Oh yeah, I've been there. But anyway, good to see you, Zach. So anyway, we were looking at the solar system, and one thing about Space Engine is every time the settings get reset, you gotta do this. At least on my computer, I turn on sprites, because the stars, they simulate motion blur, but it looks way better when you do it like without the motion blur. So we're not here to look at our solar system today. We're gonna be looking at Proxima. Or is it Tau? It's Tau. Tau Ceti. So what is Tau Ceti? Well, let's go there right now. In fact, let's first see where Tau Ceti is with relation to the sun. It's about 12 light years away. Are you kidding me? Now the mouse doesn't want to work? That's whack. Yeah, this is a Space Engine feature where you can rotate this sphere, and it wants to be that's so whack. I need that to rotate. That drives me insane. I'm not using Space Engine under these conditions. I will unionize before I use Space Engine under these conditions. Maybe. I'm gonna do this one more time. See, I think it's got something to do with the app that I use to link my PlayStation 5 controller to the PC. Okay, you know what? Looks like it did see an issue there. Good, we fixed it. But anyway, so Proxima Centauri is like 4.5 light years away, and Alpha Centauri is like about a quarter light year further away. So give or take half a light year, a quarter light year between the two. Between those two stars, after you get past those two stars, you have a number of other stars in between. Is more than you'd expect, but Tau Ceti is a popular one. It's a red dwarf star about 12 light years out. And I chose it because it had a nice planet with little rings on it, nice thin rings that would just be good to put a fleet of Star Wars ships in orbit of. And that's because we're using Space Engine. Space Engine, we have a lot of third-party downloads. We have, models of ships that we can incorporate into any scene, basically, within real space. You can create an entire fictional space. There's actually like add-ons that will create empires from fictional stories, all of the planets from a fictional book, for example. But in this case here, for whatever, oh, do I have DaVinci running? No, I do not have, oh, I do have Photoshop running. That'll do it. I bet you it's Photoshop's fault. Yeah, I can picture Photoshop doing it. But no, I don't have a chip that is melting, James. Okay, we can see the mouse pointer. We have a win. We're good here. Now, we're going to get back into it. See, I got a mouse pointer. But yeah, my temperatures are good right now. I overclocked myself to 4.9. Excuse me. I overclocked my CPU to 4.9 gigahertz. Temperatures, you can see them right over here. Look, we got like, basically right now we're at 127 Fahrenheit. And that's because I forced it to stay at a high speed as a part of a stability test. Typically, I let the CPU clock speed throttle down. Right now, I'm letting it adjust the voltages automatically, but it's not throttling down the CPU. So when it's not under load, it can still use about 30 to 60 watts of electricity. When it's under load, we're talking about 100 watts of electricity. But right now, this CPU is being cooled by a fish tank, and it's working pretty well. Okay, so now we're back in the space engine. And real quick, whether or not it works the way I expect it, I'm going to show you something. That is so gay. I think we're just going to unplug the gamepad. We're going to unplug the gamepad. We got no time for this. Okay, no gamepad. We're going to have to do this using our brains. Got it? Capiche? As the Italians say, capiche? 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 Yeah. It's a golf joke. I got you, James. I always, like, a week ago, I thought you were feeding your cats potatoes, bro. Like, you talk about feeding your cat potatoes, and I'm, like, taking it seriously. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, but I don't have a cat, so I'm not going to tell you how to take care of your kitten. But I hope your cat's doing all right, man. I think, don't you have a cat with, like, a human name, like Phil or something like that? That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, look, golf is like a whole other hobby. Oh, shit. I'm sorry to hear that, Zach. So I have to send my condolences, man. I'm really sorry to hear that his bird, that Leon's bird passed away. I think, it looked like he took good care of his bird, and I liked that he always had his bird participate with him. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was really cool. And I remember if the bird was like, slightly misbehaving, he would basically set a condition. He'd say, hey, look, I'll let you hang out, but you got to be good. And, I just thought it was really just a cool dynamic between Leon and his friend, the bird. So it's definitely, oh, there we go. Okay, so this is why I opened and closed the app 3 times, guys. But thank you, James, for letting me know. So that I don't go around going, hey, Leon, how's your bird? That can always be a little annoying to, like, remind someone of something like that without having something else to say other than, I didn't know. So there we go. So far we're looking at Proxima and Alpha Centauri on the bottom right corner. And we got Barnard's star, which is a red dwarf as well. And these all have exoplanets that we've detected around them. But we want to look at 12 light years. So look at that. We already got like a number of stars here. And we're going to get to right here. Where is it? I'm looking for Tau Ceti. And Tau Ceti is way down here in the 3D structure. You see here, but it's still about 12 light years away. Hondo. Thank you, Peter Venkman fan site, for confirming Hondo's name, because I always forget his name, to be honest, but it means a lot. So yeah, anyway, and he's got other people on the show too, right? You got Nadia Dollface, she's cool. She got like a doll face, which is cute, and it's a smart name. Now she seems like smart. And then I remember one time they got this guy on who was talking about like Marilyn Monroe. Am I mixing up shows now? No, I think it was that guy. Yeah, talking about Marilyn Monroe and all of this shit associated with her. All right, so there's Tau Ceti. So we're gonna go there right now. We're gonna fly there. We're gonna teleport there. We don't have patience to wait, so we're gonna go there right now. Now we don't see a fleet of ships around this one. We're gonna switch into simulator mode in a second. You'll also notice we have a lot of stars in the background, and we should verify that we have no procedural. Okay, good. We only have procedural clusters on, which is okay. They don't really affect the look that much, but they are good to have. But we have all real stars here because I loaded 1 million stars from the Gaia star catalog. So you can see like things back here. You can see constellation boundaries and stuff. In fact, now we're not even near Earth, so the constellations are going to look a little bit different than they normally look. But we're close enough to Earth that they are in the right place. Now, let's take a quick look at the star system here. The star itself is 2.7 something masses. Okay, so for reference here, the sun is 1 solar mass, 1 solar diameter is a yellow dwarf. This one here is 1.01. No, wait. Okay, let's just type tau set. This star is just about 78% the size of the sun. And it's, a little smaller than our sun. Similar type of star, but smaller. So now, we're going to zoom in over here to the planets in that star system. And I chose to put our fleet of Star Wars ships in orbit of Tau Ceti G, which, as you can see, is a cold Lacustrine Aquaria. It has a mass of 1.8 Earth masses. Its diameter is 1.1 Earth diameters. So it's about the size of the Earth, but it has a ring system and it's a bit more massive. Meaning you're going to probably have more gravity. Now, among the other stars, planets we have here, we got Tau Ceti B, warm, arid subferia. What's a subferia? I don't know, but that's a subferia. It looks icy, but apparently it's hot and dry. We have a warm Lacustrine super Terra, in other words, the super Earth. And it gets that designation because in this case, it's a little bit larger than the Earth, but not by much. But the mass is triple. So whatever elements are in there make it more massive. And it apparently has a C composition of nitrogen? Or N2, whatever that is. We got a warm, arid super Terra. Once again, we got 3.6 Earth masses and a diameter that is just about similar. So must be the materials, and so on and so forth. Tau Ceti E, it's a temperate, arid super Terra, super Earth. This one here would have been like probably the ideal one to orbit because it actually resembles Earth, but it's 2 times the mass of Earth. It's 1.4 the diameter, and it just wasn't as exciting to look at as a planet with rings around it. And I was kind of hoping that this one would be smaller and less dense so that in theory people could land on it if they wanted to. But it is 1.8 Earth masses. So now we're going to get right out of here. We're going to go straight into the flight simulator. Hey, wait. Why are the stars missing? Did I do that? I did. I must have hit it. I don't know what button I hit, but it turned off all of the stars. All right, so there we go. We got our star system. So now we know what we're looking at. We're going to go into the flight simulator. And you're going to see we got a number of ships here in orbital paths. And I spawned these painstakingly between last night and earlier this morning. And I don't even know where to begin. But I guess we should just do a little tour. And yes, we could turn off the ugly orbital paths, but there's a reason I have them here. They're very important. They're quite important. So we're going to just zoom out real quick. And remember, the title of the stream is about what Star Wars gets wrong about orbital mechanics. And in this case, we placed a fleet of ships and snub fighters in orbit of Tau Ceti G. And you can see that they all have these neat little straight lines. Now, we're going to try to fly a fighter around in a free maneuvering manner to kind of show you why flying around like a World War II fighter plane just does not work in space. Underfoot is oh wow, Frank Sinatra had a cat named Underfoot. That's interesting. James, I agree. Yeah, it is strange having a obligate carnivore eating potatoes. Wait. Francis Sinatra. Oh, that's the full name. That's not Frank Sinatra's cat. Your cat's name is Francis Sinatra Underfoot. Hey, what's up, Dances with Alan? It's good to see you. Peace out, Timbo Tube. Thanks for dropping in. You know, I'm sorry that my streaming schedule is erratic. I hope you enjoyed something you saw. I'm sorry that I was messing with all this technical crap for a long ass time. So let's turn off the orbits now because I think we can enjoy this a lot more. Or can we? I mean, in a way, the orbits are helpful. They're very utilitarian. And you can see we've got like one thing you're going to notice too that's interesting is in space when you're viewing things at such a great distance. Oh, and I got to open up the Rumble chat. When you're viewing things at any distance, right, under harsh sunlight. In fact, where's the sun? The sun's over here. This is pretty normal for ships or objects to look like stars. And usually the lighting here would be a little unrealistic, but it's nice to be able to see everything together. But you can just see that when a big object is, reflecting light, and pretty much anything you can see that is receiving light is reflecting light back at you. Really? Oh, that Rumble shit is fudged up. Okay, so I screwed up the Rumble thing. I'll have to do an upload. Thanks for confirming. I can imagine what went wrong. I'm not really sure what went wrong, but something went wrong there. No, I'm live. I'm live on Rumble right now, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. We only have one person there. Although, wait. Actually, are we live on Rumble? Yeah, I'm live on Rumble. And I'm going to open up the Rumble chat right now. And one of these days, I'll even put it on screen so that I can actually see who's saying what. Here's the Rumble link. Not that I recommend going to it. I mean, I'm not against going to it either. I'm just saying, you don't have to go to Rumble, You don't have to put on the red light if you don't want to. As they said to Roxanne. And Peter Venkman fan site. I don't think I said hi to you. I'm sorry. But if I didn't say hi to you before. Oh, yeah, I didn't say hi to you, but I read your chat. I don't remember saying hi to you, though. But it's good to see you. Okay, so I guess we get right into the orbital mechanics. Now, before we do that, should we spawn more ships? I think so. Now, there's a trick to that, too. So I'll show you the trick. So before we could really spawn a new ship, our best bet is to pick a ship. Any ship. Okay, so I just took control of an X-Wing fighter, and this thing is oriented fine. So this is going to be our starting point. So right now, we are effectively matching the speed and position of this X-Wing fighter. So we can now put a new ship wherever we want with relation to these other objects with confidence that they will stay where we want them to stay. And that's kind of important. You'd be surprised how much trouble it is if you don't do that. So we're going to load a Providence-class carrier, and we're going to take control of it. And before we do anything to this carrier, we have to click on a button here that says Horizon. Because if we don't, this thing will rotate. Oh, don't tell me you crashed on me. It crashed. It definitely crashed. I can see it right now. I can tell it's about to crash. I can see it crashing. Now, good news is we can reload right here. It's not really a big deal. We don't lose the ships. But this will happen when you start loading random ship models. I mean, you can see I loaded this vast fleet of ships. I kind of asked for it. These are all developed. Wait. Whoa. Game is paused. Wait, it's not frozen? So why is it acting like it's frozen? What is going on here? And what is that? What is that? What is that flying across the screen right there? This happens once in a while. One of your ships will get, like, dislodged from the fleet, and you don't even know why. That's a random A-Wing, I think. Yeah, one of my A-Wings decided. That's an A-Wing. That's A-Wing number 1. Okay, so I don't know why I'm frozen right now, but we're going to do two things. We're going to fix this right now. One, we're going to delete this Providence-class cruiser. And number 2, we're going to find that A-Wing. Because I want to know what it does. I want to see where it goes. So we're going to do take control. Okay. So this one was on autopilot, I believe, from earlier this evening. And I can't really see most of the ships in the fleet from here. But this guy's in a completely different spot. So let's say we want him to go there. Let's send him over to the battle cruiser, why don't we? So we're going to do a go-to command. And we're going to unpause the game. In fact, oh yeah, oh god. Wait. Is that moving too? No, wait. Oh, I see. Look, we're moving away from them, see? So this is basically like what happens when you're trying to rendezvous and you're in orbit. And luckily we have unlimited fuel. So we don't have to worry about any of the stuff that normally is an issue. But we do need to... There we go. Okay, we got it now. So now he's going to fly towards all of that crap over there. He's going to take a while getting there, too. We could fast forward time a little bit. Now he's doing a tumble burn. Because remember, when you accelerate in space, you can't just fly into the docking bay with your thrusters on full power. You got to slow down now. He's got to slow down. So he's flying to the MC-80. Is that home 1? I always mix up. I think that's home 1. In fact, we can try to land on it. So he's going to slow down. You can see his engines are burning. See? He's burning in order to decelerate. Because if you were to accelerate in the direction of that ship, you would just keep going. And now, because it didn't really put into any station keeping, I now have to pause the simulation, wrestle control back, and I need to tell this thing to try to match speed. Now, this could be a little tricky, but if I remember correctly, I just got to do this. There we go. We synchronize velocity, I believe. So now, can I fly it myself? Well, because my gamepad ain't connected, we're going to have to do this the hard way. It's a lot more fun flying with the gamepad, but, you know, because I didn't want the gamepad disrupting things and I didn't have time to troubleshoot just now, we're going to do it our way. So we're going to turn off auto rotation, anti-rotation, so that we can use inertia to rotate like we're doing now. And that's the thing, your ship will rotate continuously until you know, like tell it to stop rotating. And we can do that by clicking on a button that says kill rotation. Now, I should mention that I do have a dinner appointment soon. So as much as I'd like to go real late, I probably will be wrapping up uncharacteristically early. Dagobah, oh, that's a good one, some person. Ronnie, to Dagobah you must go. I like that. Okay, so we kill rotation. Now I'm going to try to take this A-Wing into that. And most likely I'm going to be replicating that maneuver from Return of the Jedi, if you guys remember that scene. So logically you would think, let's accelerate. So I got my main engine control down here, so I'm going to put some thrust in there. And luckily, we're measuring our speed relative to the Mon Calamari cruiser. Also, I think we might have some kind of autopilot on or flight assist. So I'm okay with that. We're going to leave flight assist on because it doesn't get any easier without flight assist. Now, right now, I just turn off the engine. It's going to keep going. So what if I want to turn? Well, before I turn, I'm going to put on my retros. Now, luckily, this thing has retro rockets, even though in real life, you would have to turn around. But I suppose you can make believe there's like a thrust diverter. So on some jet engines, they have like a metal flap that kind of blocks the thrust coming out the back of the engine. Makes like you can imagine it like shaped like a letter V coming out the back of the plane. This is why I like having the gamepad. It's really hard to rotate around things with just the mouse. But you would like have like something like, it's like a piece of metal or two metal objects shaped like a V, like two cylindrical V's like that. So as the thrust is going up, it ends up being pushed and deflected. So a thrust diverter or thrust deflector is how I might imagine retro rockets working in this context. So I want to land in the landing bay. Do we have a landing bay? Oh no, this is actually not a, this is not, I don't think this is a, wait, is this the thing I think it is? So there's actually two types of ships. There's Home 1, and there's a, there's actually something called, Star Defender. And Star Defenders are humongous. And you know what? We're missing the medical frigate. We need to go to the medical frigate. That's what we really need to do. But let's do this. Let's just fly this around and see. Let's mess it up bad, all right? We're going to mess it up bad. All right, so I'm going to steer. Oops, I forgot something. Oh, crap, wrong mouse. Yes, it's going to fly to the ship, by the way. They don't have any collision detection here. Okay, so we're going to do this. Now we're going to turn around. We're going to turn off auto rotation. We're going to steer. And you might think, okay, let's intercept something. Like maybe we can intercept that stuff over there. How do you guys feel about intercepting some stuff, huh? Well, first of all, we're going to have auto rotation. Secondly, we're going to have some real problems here. Because as you can see, I'm not doing anything to kill my inertia in any given direction right now. So I'm going to do a fly past, but I'm going to basically end up side strafing or strafing. Strafing? Strafing, I think is the word. Yeah, well, I'm going to be strafing all this crap over here. So, yeah, you can move your speed, and we're doing it right now. But you can see how things get really wonky fast. See, like we got that. In fact, we could have tried to land on that. And now, what can we do to arrest our motion? Well, really, all we can do now is make a tumble, right? So we're gonna try that out. We're gonna go turnabout, like the Star Trek episode, Turnabout to Intruder. And as everybody knows, Star Trek is generally superior to Star Wars, with the exception of that, yes, the fighter plane, the battles, and all of that. I mean, let's be real. Like, yeah, Star Wars definitely has that in spades. So, I could probably rendezvous again. And this is why mathematics is a big deal in space, because, like, you really got to get your orbits right. You got to get all of these maneuvers right. So now we got this. We're going to go back. Now we're going to go bring us back. And this thing, by the way, flies faster than most spacecraft. In fact, for reference, I should show you guys something interesting here. Because weeks ago, I tried to show you guys this, and I kept having problems spawning ships. So most of our fleet is in this tight orbit. You can see how, like, most of the stuff in the orbit is not following the green line. They're following the red line. And in fact, the only thing you see in the green right now is the ship that I'm flying relative to. So I've used the MCA Mon Calamari cruiser, battle cruiser, as sort of a reference object. These are all of the respective orbits of these guys. And one thing I didn't show you that I have in the video that I ought to upload is, but I have to redo the narration in the video. That's the problem. I got to redo the narration because I recorded the video on May the 4th, and it's May 22nd now. But anyway, I'm going to show you a trick about orbital mechanics in a second. We're showing a number of tricks, obviously, right? So anyway, when I increase my speed, this is what I was trying to show you. The orbit is going to change drastically. So watch what happens here. Look at that. See, the orbit is actually getting smaller because I'm actually decelerating now. I'm not going faster. In order to rendezvous with all of that crap over there, I have to slow down. And active slowing down is actually shrinking my orbit. So you got all kinds of, you're going to encounter in space. Wedge Antilles, Luke Skywalker, they're going to encounter all sorts of consequences for trying to do all of this crap. And then, so essentially we're reliant on autopilot. That's the bottom line. Okay, autopilot is superbly important here. So in the meantime, let's get back to the chat real quick. Hey, what up, the Padawannabe? How do ships become like the recent discovery of comets merging with other comets or space debris? I mean, you just have to, well, it can happen by accident. If, let's say, you have a small body captured by the gravitational, influence of another larger body, that'll do it. Although I don't think that's typically what's happening with the comets when they interact with one another. Or you can plan it. Ships, it takes planning, mathematics, and luckily with simulation software like this, it helps people to kind of better understand. And this is literally similar to what you would be doing in Kerbal Space Program. When you build a rocket in KSP, you do have to take the fuel into account. That's weird. I've never seen the game flicker like that before. So now we're going to go and give a grand tour of the fleet. And it's going to be a little tricky, but I think we can do it. So first things first, we're going to synchronize our movement with this object here. We're going to just kind of disregard that A-wing. We're going to say, bye-bye, A-wing. He's going down in the atmosphere, I think. In fact, can we see where he's going? Can we see where he's going? He's going nowhere. Good. Okay, he's still in orbit. His orbital parameters are changing. That's all. I lost it. I lost the A-wing. There he is. He's just going to have different orbital parameters. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. until he runs out of fuel. Oh, that's where we could have landed him. We could have landed in here. What is in there? Let's see what's in there. Well, apparently there's a transparent hull in here. Look, it got a little landing pad. Got more landing pads. And you got these little blaster turrets. So let's roll here. So now we're going to go to this group of ships. And as you can see, we have... Uh-oh. Now, this is a caveat. I synchronize my velocity. I synchronize my velocity with the other ship. Now we're synchronized with these ships. And you can see that some of these A-wings here, Y-wings, are moving at different speeds. So this guy here looks like he's moving up with relation to that, because he is. So we're going to follow this here. And now, this is actually fun. We could talk about actual Star Wars lore real quick. So, this is, but it isn't a Y-wing. It says it's a Y-wing, but it doesn't look like a Y-wing. I mean, sure, it's got the right shape. What's going on here? We got an astromech droid inside, right? You can see the astromech. This is a Red Squadron object, obviously. You see there's a little R2 unit. Beep it up, beep, boppity boop, you know? He's Italian. Beepity boppity, beep it up, beep, boppity boop, beepity beepity, beepity beepity. Or these two here were actually right next to each other the last time I worked on them. But now, they're not next to each other. Now this guy's way above this guy, so he's been drifting a little bit. But this gives us an opportunity to see exactly what I was just talking about here. What's different about them? Well, obviously, for anybody who's ever watched Rebels, you would notice. Was it Rebels or Clone Wars? I always mix them up. But anyway, you can see right over here, like, it's pretty straightforward. So when this came out, sure, you had this lovely armor, but every time they did maintenance on it, the Rebel mechanics had to remove the armored plating, and that's very time-consuming. So at some point, they decided to just not bother, to not put the armored plating back on. And I guess if you're not engaged in atmospheric flight, it doesn't really matter. You still got your deflector shields. So, you know, anything that, you know, your shields aren't protecting you, the armor is not going to do much anyway. And so apparently that's how we went from this one up here to this one down here, at least as per in-universe lore. Hey, look, a hurricane. And you can see there's also an R-something unit here, right? You see an R2-D2 type unit, R2 unit. I mean, he's not an R2-D2, he's an R2 unit. And obviously they ripped off Star Trek with the style of those nacelles. Okay, I'm kidding. Hey, do we want to load a Star Trek ship after we tour the Star Wars ships? So let's move on to this Guru 75. Oh, crap. So you got to be careful. When you click on things, see what I did there? I clicked on the planet and I didn't actually check what I was clicking on. So instead, we are now way somewhere else. We're looking at something else. So let's just go and get one of the other ships in the fleet. So we got a Hammerhead Corvette. And this Hammerhead Corvette decided he wants to make, you know, get it on with this one here. So this is what happens when you leave things unattended. So let's go and let's bail him out. Let's bail this Hammerhead Corvette out. So we're going to get him out of the way. We're going to do a little traffic clearing. Okay. Now, this is where things get a little confusing. Now he's going to keep going this way, right? And unfortunately, like if I was in a normal orbit, I could probably just use these buttons here to tumble and burn. So these buttons do come in handy when you want to do a standard orbit. But in this case, it's like, it's just going to go in a different orbit than what I was doing already. So let's talk about prograde. What is prograde? Well, basically, it's the opposite of retrograde. So let's do a prograde orbit right now. See, just by increasing our speed, our orbit gets larger. So that's why a fighter plane can't just magically go and say, I'm going to go and fly at top speed in a given direction. Because eventually you're going to hit escape velocity. Because really, that's what orbit is. You're a cannonball. And when you fire a cannonball, and we're going to show actually a small scale example in a second. But there's escape velocity. This thing's making a slingshot maneuver. He's going to go wherever the F he wants now. He's going to keep going on into the yonder. So that's no bueno if you want to survive and you don't have a hyperdrive, although he does have a hyperdrive, so he'll be fine. Let's take control of a Venator. So we're going to use this Venator as our point of reference. Oh, he's on his own. We're not going to use this Venator as our point of reference. But we are going to look at the Venator real quick because these are cool. Apparently, the fighter bays are in this door. There's actually a door right over here. This red thing is actually a sliding horizontal door. There's two sides to it. And that section of the ship actually connects to whatever the heck is up here. And you might even be able to see the inside. Well, you don't see it here, but yeah, it would run through the length of the ship, although this is not accurate. So, that's just a model. But let's get back to a ship that we can actually work with right now. We need one of the ships that are in a, well, we don't need it to be in a good orbit. But you know what's a good example of the Nebulon? Because I got something cool to show you. We actually got something really cool to see right over here. So, who remembers the end of Empire Strikes Back? I'm sorry I haven't been reading the chat. I just, I just want to make sure I get through some of the technicals before I wrap up. Well, it is not technical, really, but observe that window over there. Who remembers the scene at the end of Empire Strikes Back? Do you? Do you remember that scene? Well, interestingly, this picture will not make sense if you look at it too closely. So the further, if you look at it from this distance, it might look familiar. You might recognize something. And I really should just open up Empire Strikes Back right now and show you. So let's see here. /v:/ streamables multimedia. Let me just make sure there's no dirty movies on the screen here. Okay, so Blu-rays, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. Do I have Empire? I mean, it looks like we have a version of Empire. Okay. There it is. Okay, so we got C-3PO, we got R2-D2. Do we see a front view of them? That's my question. I want to see if we see them from the front. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Dun, 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 dun. And we can actually recreate this. If we really want to bust out butts, we can recreate this. The only problem is that we're not going to get all of this stuff to fly precisely like this. There's absolutely no way. At least not without just doing CGI modeling. So yeah, we kind of see it. Look, you got C-3PO over here. Right, we got C-3PO over here. I'm going to fly in closer. But this picture gets super blurry once you get to this distance here. See, now you can't recognize anything. But that's totally C-3PO, right? And then if you want, you could maybe make believe. You could say, you know what? I'm in Star Wars. You could do this. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Let's try it again. So, if we had a nice spiral galaxy in front of us, we could simulate this. We could just look like we're looking out the window over here. So I just thought that was kind of like a cool little Easter egg that whoever did this, whoever imported this or copied this model, they included that little detail, but it's not much, but it's there. It's totally there. Now let's take a look at the other stuff here. And like I said, I wanted to make a nice video, and I might still make one, but in Space Engine, if we were to use we could do this. We could fly using inertia. So now I'm not flying a plane. I'm flying with a 3D camera. So it's a little more flexible on how it behaves in my experience, but it's still very much based on Newtonian, Newtonian motion, I guess you would call it. And so as a result, it's very easy to overshoot the mark. It's, you don't just steer like an airplane. We could fly like an airplane. In fact, I should have done that already, but I don't know how to apply airplane physics to a spaceship. So airplane physics would be like where you literally are doing this. And if I want to land in a docking bay of something, we could find a nice ship with a docking bay. So now we literally told the app to just make it all fly like an airplane, so that it'll actually steer when I try to turn left. And you can see how even in airplane mode, things get a little out of control. So now we're not even, now we're trying to do what they do in Star Wars. We're trying to fly. Ah, crap, I clicked on something. We're trying to fly like an airplane. You can see how tricky it gets. And even here, like, at least it's like, it's somewhat, I don't know. I find it like, at least it's usable, you know, depending on what you're trying to do. Like, if you're trying to do like a neat little camera, like recording or camera path recording, airplane mode, it kind of gets the job done really well. But there's definitely a somewhat steep learning curve to navigating this application here and getting things to look really slick. This is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to fly something into this, and I think I have a video of me doing it. So maybe instead of doing like a long comprehensive video, we kind of doing that here. Maybe I should just show a short video of me trying to land inside of something with one of these space things. Using Newtonian physics, try to land inside of something, right? You know, like this one here, or the ship I loaded earlier that caused everything to freeze up. Yeah, unfortunately, not going to load it again right now, but that one has a really cool landing bay. And look at that, we got some, it looks like a maintenance thing, like you can hang ships on the side of here to get things repaired. Look, a door. Walk out the door. I don't love you anymore. And Slim Nim says he likes X-Wings. Well, I like B-Wings, but I'm going to find you an X-Wing. I think the X-Wings are here. And you can see, like, okay, so in space, why do these objects look like stars from far away? Well, if you think about it, everything that has light hitting it is reflecting light back at you. But when you look at something up close like this GR-75 transport, or whatever it is, GR-35? I don't know, one of them, GR-75. All of the total light reflecting off it is in a wide area. So you see it this bright, but as you move away, it's the same amount of light on a small amount of surface area. So eventually, all of that concentrated light will end up looking like a star because it's really the same amount of light that you needed to see it up close. It's still there. And that's why, you know, even, I think that's a Star Defender, or is that Home 1? Oh, yeah. The Star Defender is massive, but that's the last trip. We're going to load the Star Defender at the end of this here, and I'm going to read the chat before I wrap up. And I'm really sorry for my boring monologue tonight, but I want to make sure I at least get a show out tonight, you know what I mean? Like, I know, you know, you guys tune in every week. I really appreciate it, and I tried to kind of get this ready in a nice, neat way. It needs more work, but, like, just getting everything to line up. Like, I had to learn how this worked. I literally had to learn how this crap worked because it was such a pain. Not really a pain, it's just that certain things are not intuitive. You know, oh crap. See, like, you got to remember not to, like, do that. Okay, there we go. Now we can do it. You got to remember when to rotate, what object to rotate around so you can have, like, a thing to spin around. So, let's rotate around the central X-Wing. And then we'll go into it now. These things drifted, so they're nearly touching. And at one point, they were touching. But I came back 2 hours later, and they're not touching. Because this thing is in real time. These things are in orbit right now. They are moving around. No reason to be sorry, Slim. I appreciate you tuning in anyway. But there's a close-up of the X-Wing. These, of course, were built by a company called Incom, I believe. And, you know, they were fancy. Because while the Empire is known for having a bunch of cheap, unshielded, you know, things that they could swarm, that they could, you know, deploy in a swarm. The Rebellion wanted, you know, more expensive, high-quality craft that would hopefully be more survivable in combat, that would protect the pilot, that would, you know, go the distance, that would have the power systems and the torpedoes in addition to your blasters. And as you can see, if you ever played Rogue Squadron, you got these 4 cannons, and you can actually fire them one at a time, 1, 2, 3, 4, for rapid fire, but only one shot. Or you can fire 2 of them at a time, diagonally. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2, or like 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then you can also fire all 4. Now, if you fire all 4, it only takes 1 hit to blow something up. But if you you know, if you use that feature, you also don't get rapid fire. Like, you can only shoot 1 shot. And perhaps we should play Rogue Squadron next week just for kicks. Maybe I squeeze in Rogue Squadron over the weekend, but good game. It is a great presentation, and I don't think that's too much of a bias there, Mr. Larry Maglio. R2-D2 is superior to C-3PO, and yeah, dude, like, Okay, C-3PO might be a spy. He's either a spy or an asshole because he's always making a mess of things. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, there's videos of this where people try to make the case that C-3PO is like Imperial or like Darth Vader's lackey, so to speak. And I'm not entirely there, but there's times where he really makes a mess of things. Like when he has those wires all wrapped around, it's like, what the hell were you doing? You know, it's like he just kind of makes a mess of things sometimes. Oh yeah. I'm just looking at the chat and I see Padawan talking about his Lego spaceships. Kerbal Space Program is a lot of fun, James. It's got like flexibility. You don't have to play the hard version. You can always play the, build your own rocket and just let it blow up routine. That could be a lot of fun. Like, eventually when you do missions, it is hard, but blowing up rockets is a lot of fun too. No amounts of launching Yoko Ono can improve her whaling. It's science. I prefer X-Wings, thank you. Oh, yeah, you said that. If a fleet of ship passes in and out, will they merge into the drive? True. Yeah, absolutely they will. Well, he's a midget in a can. Makes sense. Who's a midget in a can? Oh, yeah, R2. They phase shifted together. It must be a horror show inside them. Yep. Oh, you know it. Some person, when I flew my ship into the other ship, absolutely. That was a TNG episode I was watching not long ago where they made a cloaking device that lets them go inside of asteroids, and the ship got stuck inside of the asteroid. It got embedded inside the asteroid. Pretty ugly situation. I'm sure one is just a dome on walking legs, and the other is a golden head on some treadmills. The medical, yeah, that was the medical frigate, James. I believe so. But they have different versions of it, apparently. They're not all medical, but yeah, basically that was the medical frigate. So let's see here. Am I missing anything relevant in the chat here? So let's see here. I think, yeah, exactly, Lion Ratton. That's what I'm getting at. I think he's just an asshole. Yeah. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't know why he's an asshole. I don't know if he's just, maybe he's self-centered and he's kind of like not adept to the needs of other people, but he is an asshole. See, what we need in this is all of the Battlestar Galactica ships and all of the Warhammer 40k ships, and watch who wins. Ooh. Well, like, what would be cool is if I had more time, I would do a race. But for now, I'm going to keep it real simple. We're going to load one more ship before I wrap up. Maybe two more, because I do want to load... I want to load the Star Defender. Now, the Star Defender is a bit of an obscenity, like, in how big it is. I'll show you how big it is right now. So, the Star Defender is, like, way too big. But we're going to load it anyway. So, I believe the Star Defender is at the bottom here. It's a Viscount class Star Defender. And when you look at this thing, oh crap, he's flying away. We're going to bring the Star Defender back to the fleet right now. See, this is the thing. When you load a ship in Space Engine, in the flight simulator, you have to make sure that you're moving. Oh, crap, this is helpful. Okay, wait, I got something for you guys. So when I loaded this ship, I didn't load it in orbit. It wasn't matching the speed of anything. So now this is an opportunity. This is actually something I really wanted to squeeze in, and I was worried that we wouldn't get the chance. So I'm going to explain it right now. So observe this ballistic trajectory. It's a green line going up, forming an arch, and coming down. Now, the thing is, if you were to shoot a mortar round on a battlefield, it'd be the same thing. It goes up, it moves up range a little bit, then it comes back down. And the more angular, the more horizontally you shoot it, sure, the arch will kind of elongate. But watch what happens here. You can see the arch is getting wider. So this is like when Katy Perry went to space recently. This is what they did. This is what, it didn't do it at this altitude. It would have been like way down here. So where my mouse pointer is spinning around, it would have been like literally within the envelope of the atmosphere and at the edge of the atmosphere. So this is more like a scaled up, visualization of the same kind of flight. But this is suborbital flight, basically. Typically, like I said, it happens much lower, much closer to the ground, much closer to the edge of the atmosphere. But even then, the shape of this orbit, it is not an orbit. And so this ties into what we were talking about weeks ago about Newton's cannonball. And I'll show that real quick because it is relevant to this. And I don't see my mouse pointer. So basically, if you put a cannonball on a mountain, you shoot it with minimal energy, it's going to go downrange, it's going to land. You shoot it with a little more energy, it goes further down. But notice it's always got this arch. Eventually, typically, like a more reasonable thing would be to think about this is if you were shooting it from the ground, like a mortar round, it would go up and down like a horseshoe. But if you shoot it with enough energy and it's going horizontally, eventually gravity will pull it down, except it'll keep skipping the horizon. Essentially, you're missing the horizon, you're missing the ground. So that's basically orbit in a nutshell. And so once you're in an orbit where you're moving in a nice, neat circle, you know, in multiple orbits without, you know, any additional energy, like you got a sustained orbit, the way you bring it down is basically by reversing the thrust, by decelerating. When you slow down, it's almost like centripetal force or centrifugal force. It's not exactly the same, but you could think about it like gravity is like pulling in and centripetal force is pulling out. It's sort of like that, or like a tetherball. But these are all very rough analogies. So bottom line is, in this case, we're going to watch this thing increase the thrust. It's going to increase the thrust. Right now it's doing it automatically until we get something similar. So this is like a cannonball. And the cannonball just so happens to be here at the perihelion, I think it's called, or is that called the apogee? I think apogee. I always mix up the two terms. Periapsis, maybe? I don't know. If you play Kerbal Space Program, you eventually learn the meaning of these terms. And basically, he has to increase his speed just to be able to get his orbital parameters to match up with all of that crap over there. So these are some of the complications. The point of this presentation, or whatever, is to kind of illustrate some of the complications of space flight and issues with, you know, flying around like they do in Star Wars. That being said, it would be a lot boringer if they didn't, you know, if they didn't do it the way they do it. If they took orbital mechanics seriously in Star Wars, you'd have a problem. Now, Star Trek gets away with it because in Star Trek, we don't need, you know, you don't need really any of that, right? Like in Star Trek, you have unlimited energy. You literally have unlimited energy in Star Trek, so it really doesn't matter. So we're going to go back here to the A-wing so that we can spawn one more ship. This time, the ship will match the speed of the rest of the fleet, because that's really important. And unfortunately, I don't have time to show you the Star Defender, but it's way bigger than the entire fleet. It's humongous. So let's see what we can load that's cool. We're going to find something cool. We got a Naboo Starfighter. We got an A-wing. Oh, yeah, I said something about Star Trek. Now, I always have Stargate ships, and we have Expanse ships. And on the Expanse, unfortunately, I don't have the Doniger loaded right now because I wanted to make sure the computer didn't crash. But the Expanse is a show that gets orbital mechanics right. Hey, what's up, Lorenzo Sleekstack? Good to see you. It's also good to see Jackie the Deer. Oh no, my disintegrator ray! It's disintegrated! That's funny. Lindium-36 explosive space modulator. And I only have one ship that matters. We got the Enterprise NX-01. And he's apparently embedded. Oh no, he's not embedded. And if let's see how fast the Enterprise will go. You ready for this? First of all, are we even in orbit right now? Okay, we are in orbit. Good. So, we're going to accelerate now. Oh crap, I loaded 2 Enterprises. So, interestingly, I'm actually slowing down. In fact, look at that. That's a ballistic trajectory right there. But it doesn't matter because the Enterprise has unlimited fuel. So, the Enterprise does not give a crap at all. The Enterprise is going to do whatever it wants. And we're going to bring her home to Earth before we wrap it up. How about that? How are we going to go back to Earth? Well, we got a couple options. Easiest option is to do the following. For me to get back into the ship right now. Cut our velocity to 0. We're going to select Earth. So we're going to do target, Earth, warp speed. Now, here's the crazy thing. This game, even Star Trek doesn't talk about this, but we now have to do something to match our velocity to Earth. So you're seeing that it's got these numbers up here. And it's got a negative 11 kilometers a second, negative 10, negative 9. So it actually has to bring the number to 0 before it has the right delta V. Because when you enter warp, you're going to enter the star system of Earth. Now, the problem is that if you enter the solar system, while in orbit. Let's say, okay, we're orbiting Tau Ceti. And then we go and we fly to Earth using warp speed or hyperdrive. We're there instantaneously. If you don't do anything about the speed that you were traveling at your previous location, you're going to come out of warp, or you're going to come out of hyperspace, and you're going to just zip right by, or the planet that you intended to arrive at is going to zip right past you because you never bothered to do anything to synchronize your velocity. So that's a real issue that you got to watch out for. So we got this imaginary bubble. This is like sort of Space Engine's version of warp speed. But it works. It's a good analogy. And this will be the last thing we do. So does anybody have any questions, comments, ideas, or concerns? Oh no, my disintegrator. Yes, that was good. Warhammer prize. Ooh, that would be cool. So there we are. We are now in Earth orbit. And guess what? I guarantee you we're not in orbit of Earth. Are we in orbit? No, we're in free fall. We're like not just free fall. So before, free fall and orbit are sort of synonymous. In this case, we're just going to slam into the planet. You can see that straight line. Like, we're not in orbit right now. Now, do we want to enter orbit? We could try to enter orbit. We're going to click on the prograde button. You can see these things are spinning around. That's like a compass. And then we can say, give us a prograde orbit. No, we're going to fly into the planet. So let's just not do this right now, because this will be complicated. So anyway, that will conclude this presentation on why orbital mechanics in Star Wars does not make sense. And why it's okay? Well, because the movie would be boring if you took orbital mechanics seriously. That being said, on The Expanse, we didn't even touch that. But The Expanse gets orbital mechanics right by comparison. There are times they take creative liberties, but they get it right. So that's the gist of it there. And I hope you all learned something today. Or at least I hope you enjoyed seeing the ships, Definitely could have spent more time looking at Star Wars ships, maybe do a little profile on each of them, but I just want to make sure we, focus on the visuals. Somebody released all of the lizard people. Yeah, Lorenzo is here. New take. Star Trek is really just a rental car company in space. They'll pick you up. Oh, yeah. Enterprise will pick you up. Yeah, that's one reason. It's a selling point. Just say we got the same name as Star Trek. So how many people crashed when they passed the planet? There was that Soviet lady. I think there was a female Soviet astronaut who allegedly did that. It wasn't her fault. Back then, the what do you call it? What's that crap called? The Vostok capsule was a death trap. Like they did a bunch of shit first, but the Vostok capsule, they definitely almost certainly lost people doing this that they didn't document or they didn't tell us about. But this is like the person was inside the ball, and it was like they didn't even when they first started doing these, they didn't even have a parachute. So when you entered the atmosphere, this would come down on a parachute, and then the chair would eject and have its own parachute, and then that's how you would land. You would land, basically with your own parachute. There was, and this would just get jettisoned basically, or it would land somewhere else, crashing into the ground basically. So a bit more primitive, but you got to give, say these guys had balls of steel, and even the young lady who went up there had balls of steel to do this. So I got to give them props. And Jackie the Deer, thank you for subscribing. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoy future content, past content, present content. Jackie the Deer's got a channel with 414 subscribers. You're well on your way to getting, like I said, Trina tuned in today, and Trina had 460. How many do I have? Let's see. And I'm going to subscribe to you too. There we go. We are subscribed. But anyway, let's go take a look at my channel. Yeah, I got 445. So Trina has like 20 or 18 more subscribers than I do right now. And I have about 20 more than Jackie the Deer. So I figure we're basically in the same place there in terms of subscriber count, huh? Yeah, past stream we did Letters from Iwo Jima. That was a fun one right there, And we also did a movie about Korean soldiers in who were serving in Imperial Japan during World War II. That was very, very fascinating too. I also got to redo a stream where I play what's that game called? The game we played last week, FREESPACE 2. And we're gonna revisit Chorus soon. Chorus is just a beautiful game. I mean, these graphics are beautiful. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. That is a beautiful game right there. So I'm looking forward to revisiting this game too. So anyway, let me see what else we got here. Dilithium crystals are meth. They are actually just using all of the methane from the refuse storage. They just don't want any of the other aliens to know. Yeah, that'd be a point of negative prestige, huh? Letters from DJ's Turtles. You know, I don't think my turtles could survive Iwo Jima. I hear the water is really bad there. Yeah, that's a good movie, Lion Rat. And I still got to see the other movie, Flags of Our Fathers. That one, you know, remember, there's two movies that were directed by Clint Eastwood, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. Letters from Iwo Jima is from the Japanese perspective. Flags of Our Fathers are the, you know, from the American perspective, from the Marines in particular. So I'm kind of really excited to see both movies, or to see, you know, the second one at some point. So anyway, I think we got most of our bases covered. Let's see here. Kirk does pick up a lot of women, yeah. So okay, we've been over that question, answer. Oh, I got dinner ready. Kirk did enjoy Tube Steak Boogie, true. Yeah, and I was watching, there's so many things to cover about Captain Kirk, but that's going to be a whole rabbit hole. I gave this a little thought. I'm pretty sure we can figure out making bullets work in space. They do work in space. However, I have no idea how to cool off the rifle barrel in space. Very slow fire only. So we could solve that. But the gist of it, the problem with bullets in space is they keep going. You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest problem. They keep going. Although, I believe the book I read, what was it? Was it the fucking one with the Chinese guy? Oh, shoot. There was many Chinese guys in that book. You know, the one they had on Netflix, you know? The three-body problem. I think they had bullets in space in that book, and they talked about a segment in the book where a guy at one space station assassinated a guy at another space station in low Earth orbit. So, you know, it opens up a lot of strange possibilities. Remember, the Russians, they kept a gun on their capsule. But it was because when you land in the middle of Siberia, you don't want to be eaten alive by a bear. So that's why they had a space gun. Beryllium is mostly radioactive. I think beryllium absorbs radioactivity. And you do have to dispose of it eventually. But I'm not sure. I might be mixing up materials here. But I thought beryllium served as like a reflector in the reactor. Sort of like a... Yeah, I better do my homework on beryllium. And then you wrap it up with the old bastard from War in Gran Torino. Oh, God. And the turtles from the turtles' perspective. The next show, we can do the signs of ships leaving our solar system like Voyager just did. Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Maybe we could do that. I will investigate getting some Star Trek ships to do some cool stuff in Space Engine. Things will keep going for a very, 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 very long time in space, but not infinitely, because even in space, they are getting some resistance. Well, you know, but it'll still move indefinitely. The thing is that eventually, like, it'll never hit zero velocity. It may slow down to the point where it's not a hazard. Really, just that there's so much space between everything that at some point, if something achieves true escape velocity, it's gonna, you know, just not hit anything anyway, right? But realistically, you shoot a bullet in the solar system, it's probably going to orbit the sun, orbit the Earth. If it gets captured by something gravitationally, it may enter the atmosphere and burn up like a meteorite. But really, the rules that apply to a ship in orbit, the same rules apply to a bullet in orbit. You know? And that's why space guns are a valid way to bring payloads into space. That's why, you know, having a cannon on the moon to move, like, let's say you were mining the moon and you want to move ore off the surface of the moon, a space gun is a perfectly viable thing to use. It's just that you don't want people inside of the capsule, because you might be accelerating them at like 100 Gs. And obviously that is not good for the body. But if you're talking about inanimate objects, cargo, raw materials, you can totally shoot them in space and save yourself a lot of time, trouble, and fuel, and effort. You can use electricity. You can use a magnetic accelerator, you know, like a railgun. But anyway, I think that's about covers it. If you guys want to raid my friend Aris, also I bet you Slimmin might be doing a stream. But right now my friend Aris is doing a stream. So feel free to tune into him. He's playing a game called Mario. Super Mario. And he might be playing Haruhi Suzumiya later on. But right now it looks like he's going to play Smash. So usually plays like 2 or 3 games a night. I see. Okay, beryllium has many isotopes, most radioactive. The other day I was debating someone about Battleship Yamato. They said that Yamato had 17-inch guns, And I said, no, I think it has 18 because I just read a book about it. Or I read about multiple naval ships, Imperial Japanese ships. And so I'm definitely outside of my depth when it comes to the nature of beryllium, James. I'm not going to pretend to know the answer to that. But it sounds about right. As for the battleship Yamato, if anybody has any information about it using 17-inch ammunition, let me know. It's my understanding that the main cannon on Yamato used 18-inch rounds. And yeah, but you know, I may be missing something. Like there may have been like an alternative. Like I know they had the anti-aircraft ammunition that used like white phosphorus or something like that. Like there was white phosphorus and or like thermite and rubber. And that was like, it looked very spectacular, but had marginal effect. But they literally used the main cannon on Yamato as an anti-aircraft gun using experimental ammunition. But we're going all over the place here. So anyway, let's recap here. I want to thank Awesome One for being the first to tune in tonight. James, the Peter Venkman fan site, Slim Nim, Jackie the Deer, welcome to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Lion Ratton, always good to see you. And always good to have your sense of humor. Lorenzo Sleestack of the Sleestackians. Who else we have here? We had some person here. He's some person. Also has some good job. Oh yeah. One hand Luke in the back of the tank. Yup. Exactly. I'm just kind of reviewing the chat from before. No dirty move. Oh yeah, okay. Or a plumbing stake for that matter. Oh yeah, so I didn't really talk about the fish tank cooler, but then you guys would want to see pictures, and then I have to like, you know, tell you how I didn't clean my desk and I'm not prepared to take pictures. But it's right there. There's a fish tank hooked up to this computer right behind my monitor. It's there. And it's working. Somehow. The Force is basically magic, so that's fantasy. Exactly. And Dances with Owls was here. It was good to see Dances with Owls. I'm really glad to see you too. We had Timbo Tube. We had Zax. Zax is on fire. Zax actually has his own thing here. I think Slim Nim and Zax have their own little chat commands. Yeah, just type in their names and they come right up. We had Trina here. Real Horror. That's R-E-E-L, like real, like movie reels. That's clever. We had Real Wade Nation. He posted a link to a video here. He says it's funny, but it just looks like someone playing Fortnite. We had Katy Perry, the highly improved leader of Rogue Squadron. Whew. No comment. Yes, she's visually pleasing to look at. I mean, I'll give her that. Her eyes are very pretty. Oh, look how the SR-71 Blackbird works. Ooh, the game that couldn't be written. Elite. Oh, this is interesting. Wait, is 8-Bit Linux Laptop playing right now? He is. Low Spec Linux Laptop is on too. He introduced me to Elite Dangerous, but the 8-Bit version. So that's Low Spec. We have Aris playing. You know, I put his link above here somewhere. And I am going to sign off. So once again, thank you all for watching. If you're watching on the replay and you have any questions, comments, ideas, or concerns, please leave a comment. And for now,